Welcome, everybody. My name is Chris Alamany. You're watching the Alberniweather podcast for October 31st, 2024. Happy Halloween. Yes, this is part of my costume, although, tie-dye all the time. Why not? Let's get into today's video. So, it is 4.5 degrees this morning. Chilly. It got down to 4.3, so not quite freezing, but we're definitely getting closer, and we will get a little closer again on the weekend. Not sure if we'll see frost, but it'll be close. So bundle up, all the trick-or-treaters out there. We have calm winds, just a little bit of rain on the gauge, a little bit of showers this morning. I'm going to get to that in a second, but it hasn't been too bad. Air quality at my station is not great. There's a little bit of wood smoke in the air, so be aware of that as well. Yeah, so that's our current conditions. Let's just look at the radar right now. Um, we'll go to the Environment Canada. So it has been raining a little bit overnight, but that should be clearing up. So here's our radar. We can see onto the west coast, Tofino and Ucluelet. Some over on the Sunshine Coast going up into Powell River. But looks like it's diminishing here already on the inland portions of Vancouver Island. So a little bit of moisture, just enough to make it chilly and a little damp, but no rain for now. So I'm going to talk about a couple things today. I'm going to talk about a forecast for Halloween. You can check that out and see what it's going to be like tonight. And then I want to talk about the flooding in Spain and what's behind that. So there's some interesting parallels to the atmospheric rivers that we had in November 2021. So I want to check that out. But first, we're going to look at the models in the next few days here. So this is the rain model. Let me just zoom that in a little bit. So this is Thursday. Just back it up a little. So here it is, 7 o'clock. You can see there was a little bit of rain forecast in the early morning, and then that starts to disappear around 9 a.m. So we're right on track for that. There's the moisture just lingering on the west coast, but for the most part, the South Island should stay dry for the rest of the day. So once we get into the afternoon, so this is 4 o'clock, rain will return on the west coast a little bit, but it should stay out there and not come into the Alberni Valley or other parts of the island. So you can see this is 6 o'clock, so 5 to 6 o'clock, prime trick-or-treating time, dinner time, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, all looks pretty dry. So maybe a little bit of showers up against the Beauforts. It's probably going to still feel damp and chilly. So maybe bring an umbrella just in case, but definitely bundle up because it won't be warm. But hopefully it should stay dry. So that's good news. Looking a little further out into Friday, we get some rain coming back overnight tonight, and into Friday morning. We see rain developing across the East Island here, and on the west coast a little bit, but mostly focused on Courtney Campbell River and on Cowichan and Shawnigan Lake and Victoria. Well, a little bit in Victoria. So keep an eye on that for Friday. It looks like a good amount of rain on the south end of the island, especially. So that's right into, this is 4 o'clock Friday, so it really picks up on the afternoon on Friday for the south end of the island. But we look pretty good, fairly dry on our side, and should hopefully stay dry for Friday. I think that's it. So Saturday is going to be chilly and dry. So get ready to bundle up Saturday morning if you're outside. It will be chilly. Let's just look at those temperatures here. So looking at Saturday and temperatures. Here we go. So there's Friday and Saturday morning. You can see gets down to that looks like, yeah, so there's freezing. The blue is here into green. So if we zoom in, there's that blue area in Port Alberni. So might get down to freezing. I think the official forecast from Environment Canada is 2 degrees. So be aware and be prepared for possible frost or ice on Saturday morning. It should warm up though in the afternoon, so that's nice. Might have a nice day out of it, and then this doesn't go into Sunday, but for Saturday afternoon it looks pretty good. So just look out a little further here. Let's go to this guy for precipitation. So looking a little further out, there's that low that will cause the rain on Friday, and then we get a few waves of rain coming on to the island through next week. So there's Thursday, Friday, Friday next week. Friday next week, next Saturday looks, that's my birthday, a storm on my birthday. So that'll be fun. We'll see if that actually happens. Yeah, so let's slow that downhill. So there's Thursday. You can see this low. That'll give us the scattered showers today, and then it just sort of hangs out a little bit on Thursday and Friday and spins showers into Washington and Oregon and a little bit up into Vancouver and Victoria. So that's where they're getting their showers from on Friday as it moves inland. So that's the reason for those showers. So if that stays on track, then those showers should stay confined to the South Island and Washington State. There's Saturday, looks like it breaks up, and then we get another system, weaker system coming in on Saturday night. A little bit of rain on the west coast. Doesn't look like too much on the inland or east sides of the island. Breaks up pretty fast by Sunday morning, and Sunday looks pretty okay. Sunday night and Monday morning. So Monday looks like we're in for a chunk of rain. Monday, sort of Sunday night into Monday morning. There's 7 o'clock Monday morning. It sweeps down the island. Looks like strong rain and strong westerly winds behind it. So get ready for a little bit of action on Monday morning. And we have a couple more, and we'll just take another look just for the fun of it at what happens late next week. So this is Thursday next week, the 7th. Looks like we have a little bit of an atmospheric river here developing and coming down the island. So you can see that tail of moisture coming through, and then another front on Friday next week that really develops. So we'll see if this actually happens. It's a long ways out. Lots of things can change before then, but something to keep an eye on for next weekend, definitely. Okay, so that's our local picture. Now I want to show you some information about the flooding there in Spain. So these are the pictures that you will have seen on the newscast and the internet. Some amazing, just incredible pictures from Valencia and surrounding cities and towns where the rivers just overflowed. They had over 400 millimeters of rain in a small town in the foothills called Chiva, I believe. Let me just find it here. I had it up yesterday. Oh, this is so you will have seen probably pictures of the highway in Vancouver, in Valencia, that got washed away. That's this V30 highway here. So, very reminiscent of the atmospheric river events in Vancouver and the Fraser Valley in 2021. So what happened here in Valencia is historically, the river actually came through this way. So you can see a little bit here. So there's some of the original riverbed, and it used to go through the center of the city, like many cities have, especially ancient cities like Valencia in Europe. It's a Roman city. It goes back centuries, millennia. So that was the original course of the river. And after some major flooding, the last time there was a flood that came close to this is worse, but came close to this was in the 1970s. And after that, they diverted the river Turia around the city. So this is the diversion. And since it was the 70s, they stuck highways alongside it, and that's what we ended up with today. So there's the riverbed. Generally, it's dry, but it does go into flash flood. That's why it's a very wide channel. Um, there's a ton of agricultural land. This is where all of the Valencia oranges come from. A huge amount of olive groves in eastern Spain. Oranges, obviously, lots of other citrus, and tons of rice. Literally, this is a major food growing area of Spain and of Europe. So really serious flooding through there. So it came what we have in Spain, in this region, and actually most of Spain. Um, the highlands are mountainous, so the inland portions are all mountainous. The rain falls mainly on the plain in Spain. That's up here. There's the plains of the high plateaus of Spain, and the whole country is ringed with these mountains. It's quite beautiful. Um, and then there's, of course, the coast along the Mediterranean. So what happens, and what I have been learning about, is this um, phenomenon called Gota Fria, or goutte froide in French, or just plain old in English, cold drop. Gota means drop, fria means cold. So that's what happened here. And you would have also seen an acronym out on the newscast called DANA. That stands for Depresión aislada en niveles altos, which means this type of storm is also known as an isolated depression occurring at high altitude troposphere levels. So really what's happening here is, and I'll just read this out. It says, if a sudden cutoff in the jet stream, so in the stream, and that's one point of similarity with our atmospheric river. If a sudden cutoff in the stream takes place, particularly in the Atlantic Ocean, a pocket of cold air detaches from the main jet stream, penetrating to the south over the Pyrenees. The Pyrenees is the mountain range that goes between Spain and France, into the warm air of Spain, causing its most dramatic effects in the southeast of Spain, particularly along the Spanish Mediterranean coast, especially in the Valencian community. The torrential rain caused by cold drop can result in devastation caused by torrents and flash floods. For instance, the Great Flood of 1957. Oh, look at that. There's some nice pictures there. So this has happened before, and that was the result of a 3-day long cold drop. This phenomenon is associated with extremely violent downpours and storms, but not always accompanied by significant rainfall. For this, high atmospheric instability in the lower air layers needs to be combined with a significant amount of moisture. So the question is climate change. Does it make it more severe? And I've seen multiple reports. There is one from the BBC that I linked to. I wonder if it'll come up. I think that should be the one. Um, and I'm just going to see if I can find it here. Quote. Here it is. It says, with every fraction of degree of fossil fuel warming, the atmosphere can hold more moisture, leading to heavier bursts of rainfall. This is Dr. Frederick Otto from Imperial College London, who leads an international group of scientists who try to understand the role that warming plays in these events. No doubt about it, these explosive downpours were intensified by climate change. So, really simply, you warm the atmosphere, you warm the waters of the Mediterranean. That all makes for more evaporation and more moisture available for these storms. So we saw 400 millimeters of rain fall in Chiva. And let me find that little spot. There it is. So this is Chiva, Spain, municipality of 16,000. I believe this place has been completely cut off. Here's a little picture of it. So there's Chiva. You can see the mountains in the back. So what happens is the rains or the low comes in over the mountains, so it comes in over high altitude, and what it does is it draws moisture um, from the Mediterranean coast, and it brings cold air from the high altitude that comes down the hills here. It's drawn down the hill, and that warm moisture is drawn up on the other side, and they meet, and that causes huge storm clouds, which could cause huge downpours. So it's really a meeting of cold and warm, right in the topography here of eastern Spain. So this is common in other places as well. I saw, I think it's actually in the wiki. Let's just see if it has it there as well. Yeah, there we go. So cutoff lows are apparent near the Sierra Nevada de Santa Maria in the Colombian Caribbean, so on the Caribbean coast there, with peaks surpassing 5 kilometers in altitude in close proximity to a warm sea. So you can actually almost think of it as similar to, lake effect snow. The water in Ontario on the Great Lakes is warmer than the cold air in winter, and you can have those huge drops of snowfall over Ontario and northeast United States. This is a similar phenomenon, but obviously a warm climate phenomenon. So anywhere where you get warm seas up against a continental spot with very high mountains, then you get those warm and cold areas combined. So Colombian, Caribbean, South Africa, Namibia, South America, Southern Australia are other places. So they can occur in China, Siberia in the North Pacific, and the northeastern United States and Northeast Atlantic. So I remember, if you remember, the cold bombs, I believe, is what that would have referred to. Cold core low, cold pool, polar vortex. So this is all related to the jet stream, and we know that that climate change is causing the jet stream to become less straight, more wavy, um, more unpredictable, and it's causing those. As soon as it becomes more wavy, it causes those cutoff lows that can just spin on their own, and they become meandering and stuck, and that contributes here. So as far as similarities to our atmospheric river, obviously the number one similarity is that, interaction of high mountainous areas where water can be funneled into valleys and into river valleys and into water courses. So just like the Fraser River, the Turia isn't quite as large as the Fraser River, but it's coming from these highlands here. You can see the ribs of the foothills. So all of these will channel water, and I'm not sure where the tributary is for the river itself that goes through Chiva, but that's going to be where it is, and it comes down into Valencia. So I'm just going to show you here where you can see there's Valencia, and if I look for Chiva, there's Chiva. So you can see it's directly east. Think of it as the Hope of Valencia. So Vancouver has Hope, and Valencia has Chiva, and it is directly upstream. So you can see there's a couple of there's a river here. See if it gives us Barranco de la Canaleja. So that looks like a tributary. Comes down. Looks like there's a couple of rivers here, um, and it all comes down towards the Turia. So you can see there's plenty of rivers that come in towards Valencia. So here's one that comes sort of just on the south side. This is the channel of the Turia here. So if we just look at how this comes back up. So there's Turia, comes up here. So it actually comes that way. So this is in the highlands here. It's a really beautiful area. Another part that's similar. There you go. So there's some. So this is the highlands looking towards the coast, I think. Um, yeah, so you can see there's lots of mountains and stuff in there. So that's just east, or sorry, just west of Valencia. So in those mountains there. So really, it's just funneling in to the rivers in Valencia. Um, yeah. Another thing I wanted to point out was in, I believe it was 2010, Valencia fires. There were forest fires in those regions. Ba, 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 ba. So there are often fires in the foothills to the west of Valencia. So again, very much like our region, they get fires in the summer times. It's very dry brush, similar to, there we go. So similar to California. They get serious fires. So there is some, there we go, there's a great thousands evacuated in Valencia after the country's worst forest fires. So this was from 2012. Yeah, there you go. So in 2012, they had a huge forest fire, just conglomeration. across Valencia in those mountain areas. So just like the November 2021 floods were likely worsened by the massive fires, in that same summer. We can expect that forest fires have probably played a role here in taking out some of that vegetation, making the rain just funnel that much more quickly into those valleys and into the river courses, and causing that massive flooding. So similarities certainly to our atmospheric river events. Climate change is certainly playing a role here. Like I said, 400 millimeters in Chiva was recorded in the span of 8 hours on, I think it was Sunday or Monday. So that's really what caused it, and it came in through. I guess it rained all that day, um, and the flash floods eventually came down the valley and were essentially like a tsunami, is what a lot of reports are saying. A meter of water coming down the streets as the riverbanks overflowed. So just devastating scenes there. But similar to our atmospheric river event in that we see what happens when we have those uh, high areas funneling water down towards the coast, and that's generally where we're building our cities. So that's the reality of it. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that was informative. I'm going to probably do this again on the weekend. But until then, happy Halloween. Stay safe out there and have a great day.